Hello, dear viewers. It's your girl, Nora Wilbur. Welcome to another edition of the Nora Wilbur Youngest Podcast Show. And you know, I'm never alone in the building. We have Simon Waterton. Hello.
Hi Nora, hello
Hello.
everybody,
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you for having
yeah.
me on again.
Of course, of course, of course. We have the ladies' man, just too sporty.
You are never alone, but I'm not a Liverpool fan. So this
And
is
hey,
this is
guys.
this is this is not YNWA. This is not.
And guys, we have a special guest in our midst. He's a musician, yes, and he goes by the name Richie Ray. Hello, Richie Ray.
Hello, Laura. It's good to be here.
Nice to have you. Nice to have you. Simon, have you met Richie Ray?
Many,
thought I
many
introduced
times.
you before
No,
the
I
show.
know Richard
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
of
yeah,
course,
yeah.
of course.
Really?
Yeah. I'm the dancer in the background and he's shaku shaku.
All right, guys. Yeah, welcome to the show. Viewers, today we'll be talking about a very, very sensitive topic, yes, that has been on the lips of everybody in the world of sports. And that topic is none other than racism. How has racism affected footballers, the fans, the community? First of all, what's racism? It has to do with discrimination against a race or an individual by institutions or by the people of a said community that feel they are more inferior to whoever has come to their society or so. But before I dive in, I want to hear from my guest, Richie Ray, what he thinks about racism.
Racism is a very sensitive topic that I feel a lot of people tend to shy away from it. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Right.
And it's inevitable. That's just the harsh reality of racism. Everywhere you go, there's definitely racism there. You know, even us black people, we tend to be racist sometimes, even without realizing it. You get so racism is everywhere, but it's just it's also a disease to the world. And I don't think it's something that we should encourage in any way, shape, or form. You know, and we just have to try to be better people in order to attack racism the ways that we can.
Right. Joshua.
I think I might disagree with you a bit there because I think what you probably wanted to say is discrimination. Racism is not everywhere.
You think it's not everywhere?
Racism is not everywhere.
That-
There's discrimination everywhere because human beings are innately discriminated. Personally, I believe that racism is not everywhere in the world. Discrimination maybe because everyone is innately discriminatory. I mean, a Man City fan could be mocking a United fan. You're being discriminatory. Obvious discrimination happens when you criticize or ridicule something because of your own inferiority complex, or you believe that your own opinion or decision or idea or religion or what have you is better. But racism is now targeted. You're not just discriminating, you're doing it mainly because of a race, someone's race. And it's not everywhere. Like I've been to places both locally and foreign that I've not gotten any form of racial abuse. Some people might have gotten there. Some people in Nigeria here, I don't think that we've had issues where we racially abuse a white man. I mean, I think we even glorify the whites. We even enjoy their company. We even probably treat them way better than we treat our own folks. So to me, racism is an abysmal thing. It does not make any sense because we are all created equally on that in the sight of God. In fact, we are created equally by God, and you could probably even say that we were all, unless if you don't believe in the whole Judo, Christian, Islam, and everything. But I'm a Christian, so I believe in what the Bible says, and clearly we all come from the same root, regardless of race, tribe, and everything. So we all come from the same source.
I kind of agree with your last point, yeah?
Yeah.
But when you say racism doesn't exist,
Everywhere. I said everywhere.
I think that's false, because even I've had an experience where I see black people, specifically Nigerians, like having conversation, and they will tell you they don't like white people, and they will not tell you, oh, because a white man did this to me or did that to me. They will tell you like they just don't like white people, and for a very long time, the whole racism conversation has always been around, the Western world, discriminating blacks. There may be some European countries and all, which is very, very rampant. But we tend to forget about like this minor countries that also, have racism or
That's
have racist in them.
We'll come to
Yeah.
that. We'll come
I
to
would-
that.
I
That's
think
a
that's
point.
actually
That's a
discrimination.
very solid
Not
point.
just racism.
Richie has made. Yeah. There are some minor countries that
Yeah.
have also projected their racism towards
No,
European
definitely,
countries
definitely,
too. Just
definitely.
that the Europeans,
Definitely.
that is always on our faces. But let's hear from Simon. Yes, who is luckily for us, fortunate, is a white,
A different race.
a different race.
An
So
Oyibo
an
in
Oyibo
Nigeria.
in Nigeria.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Simon, what do you have to
You
say
know,
about it?
it's a funny one. Yeah, I've been in Nigeria 6 years now. Obviously, I'm from the UK and I've been to many football grounds.
Right.
And, racism is sadly there. But it's not necessarily because it's the colour of your skin. It could be Saka's missed a penalty and you're an Arsenal fan. So all of a sudden, you're going to find anything that can hurt him.
Yeah.
And that could be that his mother's late. So that could be abuse. It could be his skin colour.
Discrimination.
So that could be exactly. In the UK, if you're found to be racist, in or out of football, the stadium, you're in serious trouble. I know people that's gone to prison for 3 months in the UK, for being heavily racist, certainly around football grounds. But one of the things I don't really agree with is that if somebody is racist in a football ground, they generally just ban them from maybe 6 matches or
Right.
something. What I believe should happen from there, it should be handed over to the police with the evidence,
definitely.
witnesses, and take it from there, because it really does need to be shut down. All I can speak about is, was it 2 years ago, the Euros, when we was playing in the final against Italy, and it were Saka, Rashford, and who were the third one? Sancho.
Sancho, yeah.
All they missed the penalties.
Rashford, Sancho,
Yeah.
Saka.
Yeah.
It was absolutely sickening. And let me tell you,
Disgusting.
Even though their penalties were preposterous, still. Like,
you were the one but that's another story.
penalties, but that's not the
We
story.
could have insulted
Yeah.
them better than by the
Yes.
skin
Yeah,
colour. I didn't
definitely.
like the football boots
Yeah.
they were wearing, but there you go. No, there's many. What I'm saying is there's many
Yeah.
different avenues it can go down, but it needs to be. 10 years ago, people were getting away with it a lot more. I'd like to say in another 10 years from now, if not before, it will be completely quashed.
I hope so.
Things do need to change.
Even though I don't believe so, but I
It
hope
seems to be
so.
football that's the worst about it. Nobody gets racist to a boxer. Nobody can diss Anthony Joshua
I
for
mean,
being black. Can
I
they?
mean, it's quite different because
But why?
it's Anthony Joshua. Like, he's going to
Right.
knock you out.
Right, exactly.
He's going to knock your lights out.
So,
Yeah.
so how has this affected sports worldwide? How has racism actually affected?
I wouldn't even say just sports. It's a societal problem. Minus sports. It's a societal problem.
But
when-
this is a sports show.
But yeah,
and
this is a
then
sports show.
so
Like, you see, there's this unhealthy notion or belief about the Serie A being a racist league. You've had Balotelli
Yeah.
complain
Yes.
there, Frank Kessié, and Osimhen, who's like the darling of the Serie A. I mean, he's the first
Yes.
African
Yeah, I mean, last
to have
season
won
was-
the Capo
Yes.
Cannonieri. That's the highest goal
Yes.
scorer. Even the great George Weah did not win the highest. Yeah, he won the Ballon d'Or as a player of AC Milan, but he never won the Capo Cannonieri. Osimhen did win it as the highest goal scorer. One of the most phenomenal players in fact, one of the 12 top 10 best players in the world, nominated for both the FIFA, the best, and the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
Osimhen was on fire last season. Is the African footballer of the year for me in my book, not just because I'm a Nigerian. But it's these are the things that, like I said, 2023, we should not be expecting these type of things. I mean,
To
you could
occur.
troll. People have trolled Harry Maguire. People have trolled players that Yakuba Egbeni. Nigerians have still not forgiven him for what he did in 2010. I mean, he just missed an empty net. It's life. It's not like committed a crime. Not like he really wanted to miss it on purpose. So people have trolled footballers. This is social media age. Everyone is trolling everyone. We get it. We are battering everyone, but not your own club's official
Yeah.
TikTok
Yeah.
handle trolling
Trolling.
a player.
I feel
I
that's
mean,
the
And
worst
we
part.
talked about this in our last,
calling him a
in our
coconut
last
head.
show. Talking about
calling him a coconut head
Yeah.
and everything. Like,
Disgusting.
it shows the fabric of Napoli, and it shows that there's probably something Luciano Spalletti saw, which was why he left the club after I won the Scudetto as the manager. And since then, you can see that there's lots of skeletons. Like, was it Simon who said so, or was it Nora?
Yeah,
There are lots of skeletons,
skeletons.
under the cupboard
Yeah,
at,
coming out.
at Napoli, and it's coming out right about now.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, there's another thing. How do you think these actions have affected the fans? Like, some fans now get very defensive. Like, I saw somewhere there are circumstances like accidental racism. That you didn't mean accidental. Like it was accidental. They didn't mean to racially abuse the player, which was the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
Now, how do you think these events boil down to the fans? Like, how do you think fans should react to things like this, things of a club? Should they go all about, okay, let's say, for example, Simon made a comment about Man City or Man United fans trolling
Saka.
Yeah, Saka, you understand? Now, Arsenal fans, they definitely back Saka up.
Yeah,
You
of course
understand?
they would.
And now, are these fans, do we expect them to come back dishing the same thing that these Man City fans dish to Saka?
Maybe
It-
to
yeah,
to
to
a
try and
black
fight,
player,
yeah, to try and fight
Ake,
for Saka.
instance.
Like, yeah, we're trying to fight for our players. And then it start causing a rift between fan base. And then football talks about football is a game of love, game of harmony, game of peace. But then these fans are saying, oh, you're bantering our player and you're going racial. We want to do the same thing to you too. So it's creating this atmosphere that fans now take football as some kind of bitter,
Tribal
yeah,
weapon.
tribal,
Yeah,
racial
yeah,
weapon.
yeah.
You understand? So I don't know. Do you have something? Do you have a comment? Simon, let's hear from you.
Well, as I said, it's a funny one, but it is football seems to be the stem of it all.
Right.
And you're right in what you're saying. It's whoever that team is playing for. It's the opposite team just want to go for that one player, and it all boils down to the colour of the skin.
Right.
You know, me being in Nigeria, I get called all sorts of names, but for me, I find it funny. You know, every day, white man, give me this, white man, give me that, and you know, if I've got it, I'll give it. And I always have banter back, even if they come up angry to me. You know, because of the banter that I give them back, they always end up chopped knuckles, shaking hands. It depends what happens, you know. So I am very much used to it, but I'm very, very much against it.
Yeah.
You know, I've got mixed race children,
Yeah.
and I'm very much against it.
Well, I feel, you see, when it comes to this, yeah, everybody wants to protect their own, and at the same time, they still want to like dish out
Yeah.
what they don't want.
Yeah.
You get, so for
Yeah.
instance now, this Man U Arsenal scenario,
Yeah.
Man U fans will want to like say all sort of things to Saka, and Arsenal fans will want to say all sort of things to Rashford
Of course.
or Sancho, for instance. Now you get, but they don't want those same things to be said to their own players.
Yeah, to their
Or
own
even to
players.
them.
Or even
Or
to them, exactly.
yeah.
So
It's like saying they can't take in what they dish out.
exactly, yeah, they,
something like
they
that.
cannot take in what
Or
they
they
dish
dish
out.
out.
They
You
would
can't eat-
definitely
you
want to
can't
dish
eat what
out
you
that same
cook.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel all these things come from an emotional perspective.
I'll
as
probably
well.
also say
You get-
societal oriented
Yeah.
from an educative point perspective, because it's from what you've been taught while
Mm-hmm.
growing up. It's from an upbringing level. Let's say
Yeah.
you've
Wait,
been-
nobody ever teaches you to hate another player.
people
or to
do,
hate.
but
Sorry?
you learn it.
Yeah,
it's
No, I'm not
it's
sure.
not- it's
I
societal.
have to disagree with you. They
No,
don't
do you know what?
teach-
Do you know
you
why I say
cannot teach
societal?
somebody how
Do you
to
know why I say
hate.
societal? You could be in a surrounding, and over time you hear probably your parents, your uncles say,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay, let me use something about gender, for instance." You could be in a society and you hear women have fish brains. It's because she's a woman. You grow up thinking that, okay, you start having, or Nigerians are corrupt. Lots of people here, Nigerians are corrupt. Lots of foreigners, when they
Yeah.
meet Nigerians, because of the fact that, okay, yeah, Nigerians
Yeah.
have had
Yeah.
lots of issues
Yeah.
with corruption, but you go out there and you could, I'm a Nigerian, and everyone looks at you with suspicious eyes because of there's been a track record. There's been things that's been said in society, in the circles you grow up, or you could go to, let's say, the West and say, nah, Omoibo, because say Omoibo, or you go to the East and be like, Onyofe Manu,
Yes,
and all
yes,
those
yes,
things.
yeah.
So it's not like no one is purposely sat and thought, okay, hate these people, hate these
Yeah.
people, but there are things that have been said
Like
over
a
time.
norm
in the
You're
society.
playing with your friends who are white, who are black, and say
Yeah.
no, you're not supposed to mingle with them.
Right.
You're trying to get married to a Yoruba girl as a Hausa guy or an Igbo guy, and you
Yeah.
hear statements like, no, you're not supposed to marry this. So
Yeah.
from statements made from societal school of thoughts,
Yeah.
from prejudicistic ideas, it ends up forming the mindset of an individual and making that individual actually believe and feel that, oh, okay, perhaps my race, my
Yeah.
tribe, my
Yeah.
beliefs are superior to
To
yours. So I
yours.
do not want
Yeah.
to associate with you. I do not want
Yeah.
to mingle with you. So
Yeah.
it's a very delicate issue, and
Yeah.
I think it's everyone needs to start learning to unlearn
Yeah.
all the different
Yeah.
issues, idiosyncrasies, and ideologies that we've
Yeah.
had growing up,
Yeah.
thrown around in society that we watch in television,
Yeah.
listen to a music, hear crude jokes like "Wetin Musa no dey see forget." Like
Yeah.
we hear like even in Nigeria here. That's why I said it's not just necessarily just racism alone. Even discrimination in all forms. You hear crude jokes like, okay, na Igbo man, he go like money, Ekaite na house girl. Like the notion of Ekaite, she go be house girl. Musa na gate man.
Gate
Like
man.
the
Yeah.
notion of some tribes always
Yeah.
doing something derogatory, always doing
Yeah.
something. Okay, no, I can't do it. I know be house man. Why I go do gate man work? Like there's just some statements
Yeah.
that are just crass, and
Yeah.
we need to grow as a people. And I'm bringing it back to sports as a people in not just in unlearning all the things that we've learned.
Learned.
And if you're going to appoint someone as a coach or going to appoint or going to vote for someone as let's say football federation president or administrator, not because the person is from your state, that's how
Yeah.
you give him, or because he's not from your tribe, that's why you now give him. You take away someone who is worth that post, who deserves to be named the captain of, let me say, Kano Pillars, but you're not going to name him the captain of Kano Pillars because he's not from the north. There are just some things that just do not make sense. So, in as much as yes, we know that racism, tribalism, any form of discrimination, gender discrimination,
Yeah.
is not a cool thing. We all need to collectively start unlearning the nitty gritty, the little things that has probably pushed not just the individual but the society to where we are currently.
Well, okay, that's a nice take, Joshua. Now there's something else that's been disturbing me. Okay, when it comes to racism in football, and then you see federations and maybe club sides or maybe institutions saying okay, for example, let's have an example. During the Vinicius saga, are you familiar with the Vinicius saga? Yeah. Yeah, there's a player that a fan rather in the stands that said was allegedly caught, and then the punishment that fan had was just I think a match ban or maybe let's say season ban or something. Now you're giving a player a match ban. Sorry, what did I keep saying player? They're giving a
The
fan
fan.
match ban. Does that stop racism? Is the club doing enough, or are the institutions doing enough? You're only giving them bans. Now, does this ban stop racism as a whole? Because you could as well give this fan a ban, and then the next fan is doing the same thing. And you keep giving them bans. Are the bans enough to combat racism in
I
football?
don't think so. I don't think so because if one thing I've noticed with racism in sports is that they don't treat it like racism outside of sports, in the sense that if I were to, let's say I were to be racist,
Yeah.
to someone in the general public, maybe in a restaurant or somewhere else, and it's escalated, and the authorities gets involved,
Of course.
the punishment I will get will be different.
Okay.
They're not going to tell me, oh, you can't come to this restaurant one more time or
Yeah.
one time, but you can come like after after your ban.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so in sports, I feel they should treat it like like the fans actually committing a crime.
Right.
And that could involve like a huge amount of fine,
Yes.
and if possible, say
Time.
prison time.
Prison time.
Because
Yeah.
so I don't think they've really done a great job in like curbing the whole racism
Yeah.
issues and all that.
I mean, the anti-racism body that they wanted Vinicius to head. We last heard about it in June. I don't think that body has been
No, hardly
has
yet.
has has been
Relevant.
has been active. I don't think it has been created.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even what they would do or they should do. It's something that should have been done a long time ago.
time
Especially,
ago, yeah.
I don't know why football especially is always slow. Football is perhaps the slow. It's the king of sports or king and queen of sport because both men and women play the game.
Yeah.
But it's the slowest sport in world history. Innovations, technology, goal line technology, video assistant referee, Hawkeye,
Yeah.
every technological progressive innovation is comes last to football. When everybody has
I've
done
been
it
using
and
it for
it's
Yeah.
and it
years.
has been stale in other sports, it now comes to football and becomes a very big deal. Oh,
Big
there's
deal.
no VR. No, we don't need VR. We don't. It's in tennis. It's in rugby. It's in American football. This new thing that they learned in the Women's World Cup that they are trying to start fully, where the official checks what happened and then she announces that okay, I'm going to give this a red card because
Yeah.
Lauren James stepped on
Yeah.
Michelle Alozie.
Yes.
You are announcing it. American football has been doing it for more than 10 years. Like,
Yeah.
why are you guys just starting? Why are you guys just getting into the action?
Yeah.
Why are you
Yeah.
just catching up to the trends? So, I mean, I don't think there's anything that institutionally can be done apart from maybe the punishments, but still, it's still a fundamental societal issue of every individual on learning the presupposed thoughts of race that they have in their head. That's it comes to a societal, individual, institutional level because it's not just about FIFA and UEFA. Okay, you play without fans. Okay, you give fines. Maybe point deduction might even be the one
Yeah,
that
I think that should be
that
that should
probably
be
the one that will
that
be
should
the
be
best
yes.
in
So club
sports because
sides can
because
Yeah.
when you know
caution
that
them
you're
first.
winning a game 2-0
And then-
and your fan racially
Yes.
abuses Vinicius or Rodrigo
Yes,
or
yes,
Wilfred
yes.
Ndidi and you know that you're going to lose 6 points
6 points.
for that event in a match you're winning 2-0.
Yes.
Come on, you yourself you go say abeg make una
don't
no go Jones like you yourself you
Even
will
the
be,
fans will be
even like
at
if-
a lot. Like
the fans might not be
yeah.
at a lot but
They're
the
cool because
stadium managers
I don't want my, for example, now.
some
I
I wouldn't want my team.
Football fanaticism is emotional. The fans might not be
Yeah,
allowed.
emotional, but then you should have something at the back of your mind that, oh, if I voice it out now and then I'm caught, my team will suffer. And I wouldn't want my team to suffer. So I'll be.
But I feel that would be very tricky.
Some people know that some like let me use some Nigerians or Africans. They know that if you go to a certain country, for instance, you can't have anything to do with minors. You can't have any. You can't say this towards women. You can't
Yeah.
do this towards women. It's some rules are more progressive. Some countries are way more progressive than some other countries. And then let me just use something like alcohol, for example. You know that in a country like Qatar, it was what was trending during the World Cup. You know that in Qatar, you're not supposed to drink alcohol on the streets.
Yeah.
Like, just go there and not. Some people will still insist that no, we have a right to do this.
Yeah.
We have a right to do that.
Yeah.
You know the rules of a country.
Yeah.
You still want to go
Abide
there
by
and
it.
be stubborn and do the
Yeah.
one that you feel
And I
should be
believe
universal.
what happened in the World Cup, Qatar, they're ruthless when it comes to their laws. Like they're
Yeah.
very strict. So
Yeah.
I think people had it at the back of their mind that okay, I don't want to mess up. This is
And
an
if-
Islamic state,
And
and then they
if you look at
respected
it,
themselves.
if you look at it, I was at Russia in 2018. Alcohol was everywhere on the streets.
Yeah.
They had even the same alcohol brand is still sponsored part of the still sponsored the 2022 World Cup because they are FIFA sponsors. That particular
Of course.
alcohol brand. They were everywhere on the streets in Russia. And then in Qatar, they actually say that Qatar is perhaps the first World Cup that had the most little amount of drunken violence, drunken bar fights,
Yeah.
all these fans.
I also
fans
I heard,
fighting
I don't
each
know if
other.
it's true, but there's a session where you could take alcohol.
Yeah,
and
there
do
was
that.
a session. There
So
was a session.
If
Just
it's not
go
that
there,
session, don't.
yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's how they were able to
That's how they
combat.
were able to combat it. So you hardly
That means
see
they did a very
drunk
fine
driving.
job in Qatar.
You hardly
so-
see you hardly see drunk driving, drunk fighting.
Yeah.
And most countries make their laws to protect the general public, not because
yeah.
they're not telling you not to do
Yeah.
it. Do what you do in secret,
Yeah.
but don't do it in the public because
And
this is
constitute
not
public
our culture.
nuisance and all that stuff.
But there's some people that
these
will
are,
still
these are
want
like
to go-
solutions to keep this stigma away.
There are still people
Yeah.
that will still want to go. They will see rules and they want to flaunt
yeah,
them.
bend
I don't know whether it's a
rules.
human being thing. You could even say in high school, in secondary school, teenagers, when there are rules of don't do this.
Yeah,
now
they-
that time that thing go
they
dey
They
sweet.
want to. They want
Now
to.
that time that
do-
thing go dey sweet. So
Yes.
I think it boils down to this one society, then to the individual as well. Because if you put the 6 points ban,
Yes.
you could make you as a club should make sure that your fans don't misappropriate that law. They don't go and misbehave.
Yes.
So you're going to suffer. But then also opposing fans, I would be let me use myself for instance. I don't want Chelsea to win. I don't want Arsenal
You
to
can.
win. I'm going to go to the Emirates
Yes,
and
no.
I'm going to say something racist
Exactly.
against
Josh.
United.
I was going. I
I'm
was
so
going.
going to something
I was
against
actually going to
United.
say that because
And
if you try to use that as a method to curb
Yeah.
it, for instance, now Man City can go and plant their fan in on
yes,
the
Yeah, okay,
Chelsea
yeah,
stands.
okay,
You
okay,
know,
even
that's
if the
true.
club might
yeah,
not do
you
it on
know,
purpose,
yeah. So
A rival
a radical fan
exactly, you
could
know.
just want to
just
go
wear
there.
nobody can prove that.
How can you prove it?
You can't. I
Like
mean, it's not a season.
I
Is
came to
it?
Emirates. I maybe let's say I live in Germany. I
Yeah.
flew. There was this United fan that flew from China
China, yeah,
to
the guy
Yeah.
that
and
made
then
that funny video.
yes,
Yeah.
and then they beat United again. But so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could fly from where I am, go there, and I know that it's 6 points difference between
After
or
the
3 points
match,
difference between United and City. I just go
So
to
you're saying that
Etihad.
law cannot
that
work?
would not work.
No,
That would not
But
work.
you know, everything has an advantage
and
and a
Yeah.
disadvantage.
disadvantage.
So
So there are
that's
lots
the
of people that could
disadvantage.
abuse it. I'm like, okay, no, let me. So if you not to go and watch, they'll
Yeah.
ban me. Give me live ban.
Live
And you fly
ban.
No
back to your
problem.
country.
I'll go there.
Mess it
My
up.
opposing team will lose 6 points. I'll win the league.
I'll fly back to my country.
Simple.
Okay, so then on a more serious note, what are the suggested solutions to curb this kind of stigma? Because it's a very, very sensitive
Yeah.
topic. Are clubs doing enough? Are institutions doing enough? Are these bodies governing sports? Football, we're talking about football now. Are they doing
Okay.
enough for the club? Are they protecting their
Their
players,
players enough. Yeah.
from these fans? They have taken things to another level and dimension. Imagine a fan wishing somebody else's another club fan
Or even your own
yeah
player.
to
Or even your
die.
own player.
Like, you know, there were some comments when Rashford misbehaved in the
Burnley game.
yeah, and then he had the accident right after the game. I read some comments on Twitter and said, "Oh, I wish he died in the crash." That's extreme. You understand?
Yeah.
Now, what are the things we can put in place? What are institutions supposed to put in place to make sure things like this are curbed out? Josh, let's start with Josh.
Well, personally, I think that the institutions, social media, for instance, Mark Zuckerberg's platforms, they are really doing a decent job to ban some words that are sensitive. Same thing with YouTube as well, to ban some words that are sensitive. Elon Musk's side as well is a bit more liberal, but they are still trying to tone down on the abuse and whatnot. Like, I think it boils down to an individual and a societal perspective, because no matter what a club might do, okay, what happens when it's now your club that's even antagonizing you, like Victor Osimhen's Napoli?
Yes.
What happens if it's your own club that's trolling and making fun of you? So it's there's too much that a club can do, an institution can do, an organization can do, a federation can do, but it boils down to individuals.
Right.
Because as individuals, I think that we just have to suck it up and be better.
Do better.
Just do better. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. It's the golden rule in life. I mean,
Josh,
just take it.
Richie.
So I would say that the clubs have a very huge role to play in this. From their stadiums
Right.
to the kind of message that they pass across to their fans.
to their
On
fans,
social
true.
media,
Yeah.
whatever form of media you
Yeah.
get. So, for instance, now if a club has its own rules and it says if you are a racist or if you
Found.
if you're found to be
Yeah.
racist, this would be your punishment. We don't care about what the law says in general, but this would be our
Yeah.
punishment. This would be the fine you pay to
Yeah.
the club. I feel that would make people want to like sit up. You get, so you can't just go to a stadium, whether you are at your home stadium or away. You can't just go anywhere and start saying all sort of things or start pouring things at people. Like every form of racism, I feel you can't just
Every
do
form of
certain things
abuse
or
generally.
abuse in general. I feel
Yeah.
once you know that, okay, so I'm going to this stadium, these are the things that I cannot do.
Yeah.
You get, I feel everybody will sit up, because if for instance now, as a fan, I'm going to watch a game and maybe I'm a Man U fan and maybe Rashford misses a penalty, or let's even forget about racism right now.
Okay.
Let's say what's this guy's name? Bruno Fernandes misses a
Yeah.
penalty. You
Nice.
know, there are people that would also want to like say hurtful things to
Of
him.
course.
You get so if people know that okay, there are rules in place that I cannot, attempt to break,
Yeah.
they would sit up. So
Right.
obviously the I feel there's an higher authority which is FIFA. You
Yeah.
get they would have to work with clubs to make sure these
Yeah.
rules are put into place.
Please.
See if they can do that, I don't think this whole racism thing would really happen like that
So
anymore.
if, if so
Again,
if in your words you say clubs are not even doing it enough.
clubs are not
Mm.
doing enough.
They're not doing
They are not
enough
doing enough.
as it
And for
is.
like this Osimen's case now, like how can your own, club
Yeah, throw your
throw
own.
you like that?
Yeah, your
You
own
get
player.
it's one thing for an
Yeah,
outsider to
outsiders
try to
too. Yeah,
do
Or
hurtful
opposing
things to
yeah,
you
fans.
opposing
or
fans and all
opposing fans.
that.
But when
Yeah,
it's now your own people, like
yeah.
it
It
sucks.
sucks. Yeah, it really
Like
does.
how who do you even have to protect you
Yeah,
from this?
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
so I
Like,
feel I feel that's the most painful part about the
and I can
Osimen's.
imagine how Osimhen will feel that if his club cannot protect
He
him,
Exactly,
eventually
then
unfollowed
and
them and
it's even
deleted all
crazy.
the posts
It's
that he
even
have of
crazy. Like
Napoli.
watching the video, using like a an automated kid's
yeah,
voice.
cannot.
Like I mean, it's
Disgusting.
even children's theme
Yeah,
songs don't even sound like
sound
that.
like
You
that.
get so
It's very
it's really
disgusting.
sad. So I feel
Very
the
sad.
clubs definitely need to do better. From small clubs to big clubs, you just have to do better as a club, in order to protect your
And
players.
society at large as
Yeah,
well.
and
Society
society
at
at
large.
large. Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks a lot, and to our esteemed viewers, never forget, stand up against racism. I mean, generally in sports and worldwide, you supporting a club doesn't necessarily mean you should hate the other players. I mean, I've been a blogger for a few years now, and most times my viewers, they're always surprised how I do not use some kind of words on players, rival fans, and they're always surprised when I show love to other rival players. I'm a Man United fan, and then sometimes you can find me saying something as good as I love this player, I love what he does, and that player turns out to be a Chelsea player, and then they're like, Nora, why do you like a Chelsea player, a Man United fan? For crying out loud, it's the sports first, football first,
Human being
football
first.
first before club, you understand? And I'm for the game, and that's what I encourage all of us to do. You get, if you say you love the game, then why do you insult and racially abuse a player that's also playing the game you say you love? You understand? I don't know if you guys
Yeah,
are
yeah,
Yeah,
I
get
yeah.
it.
definitely
It's
agree.
it's something we should have at the back of our heart, that these guys are humans like
Humanity
us.
first.
Humanity
Humanity
first,
first.
exactly. They're humans like us. I mean, do I would like you to do to me, or how do they
Do unto others as you want
do
to be
unto
done unto you.
others what you expect them
Yeah.
what to be done to you, or something like that. You guys, so guys, it's been a pleasure having Richie Ray and of course our ladies man Josh Too Sporty in the studio, and Simon Waterton, our Oyibo. It's been a pleasure having them. And guys, don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles, and do not forget to visit www.youngersports.ng to see all there is to be in our world of booking. You understand what I mean? You want to book your games, right on, log on to www.youngersports.com. It's bye bye from the studio. See you next time.